Greetings, everyone, from Christchurch, Missoula. This is Pastor Flynn once again with our weekly meditation. And this week is from Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 14. It says this: "For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea." This glorious news is given to Habakkuk immediately after receiving the terrifying news that God is planning on destroying Jerusalem. Habakkuk begins his prophecy by crying out to God over all the sin and wickedness that is overflowing in Judah. And he passionately prays and asks God, why is he not doing anything about the perversity, the violence, and the injustice that he sees everywhere? God responds by declaring to Habakkuk that he is doing something about it. He is going to raise up the Babylonians and send them to destroy Jerusalem. That is not exactly what Habakkuk had in mind. And Habakkuk has trouble wrapping his mind around the idea that God is going to use a pagan nation to destroy his own people. Has God given up? Will there no longer be children of the Lord on the earth? Has God given the world over to the wicked? These are the kinds of questions that Habakkuk is wrestling with. And then God declares that he will also bring judgment on Babylon for their wickedness. Both Israel and Babylon are being judged for the same thing, their sins. God will not allow sin to reign. It is in this context that God declares then to Habakkuk our verse, our weekly meditation verse: the whole earth will be filled with his knowledge and his glory, just as the waters cover the sea. Sin and those who embrace sin will be destroyed. Sin is rebellion against God, and that rebellion will be put down. Interestingly, Habakkuk is a contemporary of Isaiah, and Isaiah uses this exact phrase in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 9, describing the reign of Jesus Christ after his defeating all of his enemies. In Isaiah, the exact phrase is our verse: "For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea." It's describing the reign of Jesus Christ after defeating his enemies. In this season of Epiphany, we remember that the Magi, rulers from the east, recognized Jesus as King of Kings at his birth. At his trial, he was mocked as a king. He was crucified because he was a king. After his resurrection, he ascended into heaven and sat down at the right hand of the Father, taking his rightful place as king, the King of heaven and earth, both of which he is ruling right now. First Corinthians 15:25 tells us that his rule has begun, and he must rule until all his enemies are finally defeated. His enemies being all of those things that fight against the knowledge of the Lord and try to stop his glory from advancing on the earth. Here are two wonderful things to consider. The first is that Habakkuk 2:14 is a declarative statement, not wishful thinking. It will happen. The second is that it is happening now on the earth, this earth. The Lord will not allow sin to reign here. As faithful Christians in America today, we are a lot like Habakkuk, wondering why isn't God doing anything about the wickedness that we see overflowing all around us? The message of Habakkuk is that God is doing something about it. Jesus is the ruler of this world. And despite the growing tide of woke ideology, secularism, humanism, violence, sexual perversion, and anti-Christian rhetoric that we see all around us, the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord, and his glory will cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. Faithful Christians can rejoice with Habakkuk, who ends his prophecy with a hymn of praise, declaring, "I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. The Lord God is my strength. Thanks for listening. Until next time, Emmanuel.